The anime reflux is the thing we're doing. Yay. Woo. Stay on the mic,
It
Casey.
wouldn't be an anime. It wouldn't be one of our productions if the sound check didn't. The episode didn't involve half of the sound check.
Yeah.
Of course, you're saying half of something because you've hit the button wrong.
Alrighty. So, I'm in a very good mood. I also haven't seen this anime in like over a week. So, I remember it was nonsense.
A lot happens, but it's a detective show, so.
Yeah, but even as a
Or I should
detective
say
show,
a lot of names are dropped.
True. Okay, so this show is called Ungo. There is a hyphen in that. It is not Unco, which means a different. It means shit. That's what that means. It means poop.
Oh, well, fair enough.
This was a thing that was brought up earlier that I felt had to be in the episode. Even though you have no context for us, audience, it's, it was that important to me for some reason. So,
I mean, the context is I asked. I'm sure "ungo" means something. You now have context.
Yeah. So, right, okay. The anime is based on the works of Ongo Sakaguchi, which was called the Aoi Bungaku series. We have no context for that, but that's fine, because we never do anyway. We're Westerners that are not as versed in Japanese folklore and storytelling and literature as we pretend to be. So, yeah, this seems like an anime that's going to be a detective series. If so, it's very bad at being a detective series.
Yeah.
When one of your main characters has magic powers that force someone to tell the truth once. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, this starts with, if memory serves, it's a young woman that is going to go to a costume party representing her dad, who is some sort of important guy that is established kind of poorly and just sort of haphazardly, along with a lot of other stuff that it feels it needs to front load you with, introducing a lot of names of characters that just kind of all blend together. That might be a facet of it being, Japanese names that are harder for us to parse. Like if they were just saying Mr. Johnson, Mr. Wilson, and whatever, that would probably be much easier for us to keep track. Just how it is. But yeah. So her dad is kind of important. He is sitting at a computer when we see him, and he's like, "Yeah, do stuff, daughter." Okay. Kind of like a typical nerdy look, like, so daughter goes to the costume party, and there are a bunch of people there, and the conceit of the party is it is about there is a high-ranking member of, I'm going to say Japan. It might not be Japan because it's alternate history kind of thing, it seems like. But he is embroiled in a scandal, this high-ranking member of the Japanese government. People are claiming that he has been embezzling money.
From the war effort. So good old war profiteering.
I don't think it was the war effort. I think it was the reconstruction effort. Like, the war happened, it ended, then everything was shit for a while, and everyone was trying to do reconstruction and get things back on track. It doesn't seem to be the Second World War, so I think it's like...
No, based on the time period and stuff, this is kind of a fictional conflict that just happened.
Yeah.
Also, we skipped over the true beginning of the series. Did you forget?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a car crash or something, real quick. It's like 20 seconds long. of the main character waking up, coughing up blood, looking at what turns out to be the daughter that is sent into the contest or that meeting thing as a proxy for her dad, and then he passes out again without. We don't see what he looks like, so he's damaged in some way, so probably dead.
Okay.
Real quick,
I did not remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah. I hate in media res, so it's stuck in my head.
It might be in medias res. It might be just an event from the past, and then we're moving past it at lightning speed, and it will be established later what exactly happened. Don't know.
Well, the people involved are the 4 characters that are the highlight of this episode. So
okay. So yeah,
I assume it happens soon.
Okay.
So from what I can see, that beginning part is what led our, from what I'm checking on the Wikipedia, that's what led our main character detective to meet Inga, the panda-looking person, young boy that turns into lady later on.
Oh, so it was a past event?
That was a past event, yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Interesting. Yeah, I've no idea. I don't even remember watching it, to be honest. Yeah, that just fucking slid off my brain, apparently. Like, it
was really quick.
It's not even like it was something I forgot. I feel like it's something I never even noticed happened. Yeah, but they go to this costume party. There are 2 dudes that dress as Napoleon, and, they take it with surprising grace. But there are factions that are like, hey, this important statesman is, innocent, and others that are like, I don't know, he seems pretty shifty. Everything's going pretty well now, and I don't like it that he's doing well. So there's a lot of security at the event. Everyone's like sharp suits and sunglasses, both genders, which, is cool. I like ladies in suits. So party's going on. We meet the statesman's wife. We meet we meet the detective that is kind of introduced as a failure detective. I forget the exact term. Loser detective, something like that.
The defeated detective.
That's the one. Yeah. And his plus one, let's call him, for the context. And then the other guy's daughter, the one that's representing him, she shares a drink with the wife, gets immediately woozy, like, oh, okay, here we go. But no, she's mostly fine, just a little woozy for unexplained reasons. Spills a drink on her dress and goes to the bathroom to clean up.
Unexplained reasons that are never explained.
Yeah,
there was no reason for her to get sick.
Yeah, it was weird in hindsight. I'm going to be honest. But, there are stupider and weirder things in this episode. So, while she is in the bathroom, the statesman decides to get up on stage and says he has an important announcement about the matters that surround him currently. And then, before he gets up on the podium in front of the microphone, he gets stabbed in the back while walking over. And no one sees it because the lights were down, so no one saw what happened. Okay. Then, if memory serves, Little Miss comes out of the bathroom, and we
begin the investigation a bit.
Yeah, the investigation stuff, where the daughter comes out and is like, okay, I'm taking control of the situation. The only people that were close enough and conspicuous enough are these two dudes who dress like Napoleon, and then is immediately undercut by, I think, her dad just having a fucking screen show up in
He
the
just
ballroom.
satellite links to the freaking to the party, and it's like, hey, what's up? I'm a detective. I'm here to solve this. By the way, there were more than just those two guys. There was also the security. That was close enough to the stage.
Yeah. And he deduces this based on not being there, which is a little like, was he watching through cameras? Or I don't fucking. Anyway.
That's kind of the assumption, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got like, okay, the security guards are suspicious now because we say so. So I forget how, but we eventually get to a point where one of the security guards ends up stabbed also, with the appearance of having tried to get away.
She's in the elevator with her jacket off and to the side.
Wait, I thought she was in the bathroom stall.
No,
she was in the elevator.
She was in the elevator. Her jacket was
quote unquote trying to leave. Yeah, so she got stabbed, and they're like, "Oh, it must have been her," and she stabbed herself out of guilt. People call that out for being incredibly stupid, which is fair. Like, I can't remember who suggested it, but I remember it was stupid. It might have been the wife, which would explain why. Yeah.
Probably the wife, yeah.
Yeah. So the defeated detective is like, hey, that's really stupid. That doesn't make sense that she would just try and escape, seem about ready to actually escape, and then just suddenly decide to stab herself. That's fucking stupid.
I'm gonna get away with this. Stab self.
So then we get back to discussing things with like the detectives, and they're like, okay, let's bring this back to motive, I think was the discussion. And somehow that comes to the conclusion of, let's talk to the wife. So they go talk to the wife, and shitty detectives plus one suddenly decides, hey, I have a superpower. And that superpower is to force an honest answer out of someone once.
So the question that Inga was like a form of like a kind of like a young boy, then turns into a big lady. Asks the question of, what did you think of your husband? Or what was your husband to you? To which the wife responds, a hero. And it goes on to a spiel of how he worked himself so hard for this country during these times of war, and she didn't want his name to be sullied. And she wanted him to basically just go out the way that she saw him, as a hero.
Yeah. She does say most of that. She doesn't actually confess to killing him, but they decide that means she killed him. Which is a little weird. Like, she doesn't actually say she wanted him to go out as a hero. She wanted him to like be remembered as a hero. So it's a little like they just kind of decide that she's the guilty party, and eventually she's like, yes.
They're like, okay, well, hold on. So the jacket was on the ground. Why she didn't put the jacket back on the lady who she stole the jacket from. So if she did actually disguise herself as the lady and kill her husband, then she would still be wearing the black pants to disguise herself as
Oh,
the
yeah.
lady,
Yeah, that was a thing.
which she was hiding underneath her dress. That she was wearing the same black pants and black shoes. So
Yeah. And
Okay, so out of all of the technology they showed and all of the magic powers that that one character has, the most unbelievable part of the show to me is the fact that they can slip the dresses on and off.
yeah.
mm-hmm.
I saw that fucking dress go on the character at the beginning, and I was like, "Fuck you!" No.
It's cartoonish. She's got like a vest with like straps and stuff, and they just throw it on top of her, and it works. Clothes don't work like that.
Also, just I can force an honest answer out of anybody. Did you kill your husband?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what is your husband to you? He's my husband. Whoops.
Yeah. Like, there were a lot of ways that question could have gone wrong. And in fairness, like saying, "Did you kill your husband?" Yes. Probably isn't admissible as evidence, I'm just going to say.
No, definitely not.
I mean, but you're establishing a motive, I guess, by asking with the other thing. But
it's still a really weird way to go about it. Yeah,
it's kind of odd. Like you could argue even without that the wife would kill the husband to save face, so that her name doesn't get dragged through the mud. Even if that's not true, that is a motive, a potential motive.
Yeah. I get I do agree with Casey in that you can't just get them to confess because then it wouldn't be valid at all. Well, they confessed under magic powers. You just have to trust me. So leading the person to confess and give their motive is probably what the show is going for.
But at the same time, it's a really stupid and shitty motive. Like,
yeah,
I want him to be remembered as a hero, so I'm not gonna try and like do anything to clear his name or prove that, like, her husband seemed to be doing something at the time when she stabbed him.
He was going to go out and he was going to confess to his crimes. And he was going to do his time, and it would have been a much more honorable way to go out. Of be like, hey, this is the truth of the matter, and I have many regrets over how things went down. Versus,
I actually forgot about the confession part, that he was going to confess.
He was going to confess.
You want to talk about honor, though? How about that ending where they decide, even though she was guilty of murdering her husband, even though the guy, he was killed by his wife, and that's... they decide, hey... No, wait. Let me frame this better. The reason she killed him and tried to pin it on one of the bodyguards was because that would mean it would look like a government cover-up that they were trying to frame him, and all of the heat would be taken off him and put on the government and cause, like, civil disquiet, let's call it.
Mm-hmm.
So by figuring out that it was actually her, they actually did more than just solve a murder. They solved the problem of, hey, this could be like some real tumult for the country that is apparently still recovering from a war. We kind of can't afford that. But in the end, even though she killed her husband, they decide it's better that she get away with it. His name stays clear. They pin it on the guard who had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, that was like, oh, come on.
What about that bodyguard
What about her
if that
family?
bodyguard has any family, yeah, they're just going to be dragged through the mud. They might That's not
Oh,
fair.
Not
It
to
was
People
mention,
upset.
It
not to
was the
mention,
worst way to handle it.
they make it look like the government put a hit out on someone. Like, how is that better than whatever the alternative
And
was?
it's like, well, that's why you're the defeated detective. Even though you get things right, it always turns out to be wrong, so the government covers it up? Why do I care about this mystery stuff if it's always going to be just not having any consequences?
What a weird goddamn show. Like, there are mysteries, and like we've seen some that don't handle it very well. We've seen some that handle it pretty well, like, you know, like really do a decent job of it. This one doesn't even seem to try to do an actual mystery, let alone a satisfying conclusion for one.
I just feel kind of upset. Like,
Who
really?
needs mysteries with satisfying endings when you have magic powers and slip-on dresses?
Magic powers and slip-on dresses.
To get that fucking suit on, she had to take that dress completely off.
Yes.
Completely dress in the suit that happened to be her size. How fortuitous that was.
Yeah.
Then kill her husband, get
Yeah.
away, and in the 30 seconds that she had, put on that huge fucking dress again.
Yeah.
Assuming she had 30 seconds, because the lights went out almost immediately.
So essentially, the timing makes no sense. That's one of the core things in any mystery is the timeline of events. If that timeline of events is not logical or makes no sense, then this person can't actually be the killer. There's no way.
Another core of mysteries is having all of the pieces and putting them together to come to a logical conclusion. It's a lot less satisfying when they decide, hey, we're just gonna hand you the conclusion. It's just, oh, we can get that now, just because. That's called contrivance, and generally not a good thing in most stories. Like, you know, there's room for it. For solving mysteries, really, really bad thing. You don't want that. Like, the fun of a mystery is having the possibility of figuring it out on your own. Like, you might not actually do it, but in hindsight, all of the pieces were there and you can see how they fit together. But in this, they just kind of go, here's the pieces, here's the answer. Like,
I will say,
not even here's the pieces, just answer, go.
I will say this: I did figure out who the killer was partway into the show, just because it just made the most sense to me. Of like, oh well, she was mysteriously absent during this period of time. She's the only person without an alibi.
We were introduced to 5 characters.
I know, and
3
it's like,
of them were detectives.
yeah. All in all, even if the rest of the show is good and has some great mysteries, this is a terrible start.
I don't know. This one was disappointing. That's what I'll call this one. It could have been far worse, but it just didn't really seem to grasp what makes a good version of this genre. It's just kind of, you know, it felt like a mystery that I would write, and I don't write mysteries. That's how I'll put it.
That being said, a video game where you have the option to like ask somebody one completely truthful question and you have to choose which question it is in like a mystery detective game, that sounds actually kind of fun. But like for an anime, for a story like this, nah. Anyway, I rolled a new one.
Yeah.
24.
It's 24. It's the clock ticking.
I think the problem with episodic detective shows that are only half an hour or like 22 minutes for commercial reasons, they just don't have the time to properly set up a mystery that the audience can solve. Mostly, because it's like, yeah, they introduce 5 characters, so either it's one of those, or it's someone that we haven't met yet, and that's not fair.
I would actually say that a show that takes the approach of not just have a mystery that can be solved in one episode, but have it cause like intrigue and want you to keep learning to find out more was going to be more enticing for me to get into the next episode.
Yeah, that only works when you have the option of binging, though. If it's like a weekly show, that doesn't work. You're going to forget everything.
Netflix has ruined me, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
I think that's the best way to do a detective show. It's like every mystery takes, I don't know, between 2 and 4 episodes.
Yeah. It gives you more time to develop it, and like if I want to find out more about this
episodes.
Yeah.
Which is how most
Or that.
procedurals do it.
That's, unfortunately, anime doesn't always have that option.
Mm. It
Also, multiple
basically
part,
never has that option.
multi-episode mysteries gives opportunity for satisfying cliffhangers.
I think Black Lagoon actually did that kind of thing. Like, there were a couple of mystery arcs in that show, and they did like multi-episode things.
I can see that.
4.
All right. 4. 2.
We're gonna do some Chinese shit. Oh, we are doing some Chinese shit.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See what it is.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's not actually gonna be interesting.
What is it, like Heavenly Emperor returns with godlike skills or something?
Oh Christ, it's CG. All right.
Oh yeah, we're getting in there. Ugh.
Oh boy.
I sound excited, but I always
Xingji. The journey to the west was a conspiracy of heaven. After Sutra went missing for more than a decade, heaven sent its army to search in order to not let the Sutra once again fall into the hands of heaven. The journey to west begin again.
So this is called Xingji, or the Westward, and it's 15 minutes per episode. Started airing in 2018. So,
thanks, Adblock Plus. I really needed that fucking ping in my ear when I'm recording audio, you fuck. Sorry, what?
The first episode is 21 minutes and 40 seconds. So
okay. Okay, then that's good. This is ONA. Got it. Okay. So, I mean, why not? It's got a weird CGI lady with horns on the cover, so it's
sure. Why not?
I don't want to watch more shitty Chinese CGI, man. They always suck. They're always completely incomprehensible.
Yeah, they really rely on their own mythology for Chinese stuff, like a lot.
0 comments on this anime.
They rely on their mythology, and they rely on you understanding it implicitly. Like, at the very least, the Japanese ones tend to actually explain at least a little bit.
Even if it's just like a subtitle info dump, it's better than nothing.
Oh, we've had subtitled info dumps in the fucking Chinese ones. They just happen to be like a page long for every fucking line of dialogue.
This thing got 3 seasons. Or rather, we have this anime that had a prequel that they came out with, and then they had a sequel.
So I was going to say that the Chinese production qualities of their products have been getting better, but that's a lie because they're not allowed to get better. So, yeah.
All right. Journey to the West, I guess, in terms of CG. I don't really know much about Journey to the West, not gonna lie. I've never read the original story.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
there's
just,
no vague
seen a
details.
billion anime versions of it.
There was a monk, he went west, he had several traveling companions. One of them was Goku.
Another was Oolong and another was Bulma.
No, Bulma was the monk.
Oh, Bulma was the
Yeah,
monk.
we established that.
Danzang,
Yeah.
because FGO taught me how.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And one was Lu Bu. Anyway, so let's fucking. That's what we gotta do next. Bye, everybody.
Hey, if it's
guys.
bad, then we can have some fun.
It doesn't have
Not to
fun
talk about when
though.
it's
They
bad.
just suck. All right, whatever. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.